Okay, let's talk about anger. We've all felt it, that flash of heat, that moment of pure frustration. But what if I told you that the actual physical experience of anger has a built-in timer, and it only lasts for 90 seconds? Stick with me here, because this one simple idea could completely change the way you think about and deal with this powerful emotion.
Yeah, we all know this feeling intimately, right? It can be anything from the tiny annoyance of stubbing your toe all the way up to that white-hot fury when you feel like you've been seriously wronged. It's a basic, fundamental human signal, an automatic reaction. But here's the thing, it's what happens after that initial flash that changes everything. I want you to really let that sink in for a moment. What if the entire physiological response, the whole shebang, the racing heart, the rush of heat, the adrenaline, is actually designed to be over and done with in just a minute and a half? If that's really true, then why on earth does anger sometimes feel like it lasts for hours or even days? What's going on?
Well, it's because most of us get caught in what you could call the 90-second trap. We accidentally fall into this mental feedback loop that keeps the feeling going long after its natural expiration date. So, let's break down exactly how that trap works.
I want you to think of your initial anger response as being like a smoke alarm. Something happens, that's the trigger, and beep, 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 the alarm starts blaring. It's just a warning signal. It's designed to get your attention, to tell you that, hey, something might be wrong here. It's a completely automatic, physiological thing.
So, the initial smoke has cleared, the alarm should be turning off. But this is where we get ourselves into trouble. We start making more toast. We walk over to our mental toaster and we start replaying the argument in our heads. We list all the reasons why we're so right and they're so wrong. We think of all the clever comebacks we should have said. And every single one of those thoughts is another piece of burnt toast, filling the room with smoke and keeping that alarm screaming.
Right. So if it's our thoughts that are keeping that alarm going, what's actually happening inside our bodies? This is where we get into the science of it all, and it's pretty cool. It all comes down to your body's own internal built-in chemical clock.
And this, right here, is the 90-second rule. See, when something triggers an emotional response, your brain releases a flood of chemicals into your bloodstream. Those chemicals create the physical sensations that we label as feelings. But, and this is the absolute key, it only takes your body about 90 seconds to metabolize and completely flush those chemicals out of your system.
That's it. 90 seconds. From the moment that trigger hits, you're on a minute-and-a-half long chemical ride. Anything, and I mean anything, you feel after that 90-second mark is being generated by you, by your choice to keep rerunning that emotional loop in your mind.
And this is the crucial distinction you have to make. On one side, you've got the physiological response. It's automatic, it's finite, it's over in 90 seconds. On the other side, you've got the psychological story. And that story, well, that can be infinite. And hooking into that story is a conscious choice. You are choosing to make more toast.
Now, once you really get this, it gives you this incredible power to challenge one of the biggest myths about anger, the idea that other people are the ones causing it. Let's call this the button pusher myth.
Come on, we've all said it, right? She just knows how to push my buttons. He made me absolutely furious. And it feels so true in the moment. It feels like that person literally has a remote control, they pointed it at you, and they just pressed the anger button. But understanding the 90-second rule shows us that this is just not true. So here's the really empowering takeaway. No one else is in control of your emotions. Their words, their actions, sure, they can be a trigger. They can absolutely set off that initial 90-second chemical reaction. But they are not the cause of any anger that lasts longer than that. You are.
So that takes us even deeper. If we're the ones responsible for keeping anger going, it's worth asking, why? What purpose is it serving? Because so often anger isn't the real story. It's just the cover story.
Think about your emotions like they're a cast of characters in a play. We usually put anger front and center, right under the big spotlight. It's loud, it's dramatic, and boy, does it get all the attention.
But what if anger isn't the star of the show at all? What if it's actually playing a totally different role? What if it's just the security guard, standing by the door, looking all tough and intimidating?
And here's the big reveal. That security guard is there to protect something way more fragile and vulnerable on the inside. So often anger is just a secondary emotion. It's a shield we put up to keep ourselves from having to feel primary emotions like deep hurt or profound fear or even shame. Because let's face it, it feels a whole lot safer to be angry than it does to be hurt. Okay, so we've got the 90-second rule, the toast metaphor, the anger security guard. That's all the theory.
But how do we actually put this stuff into practice in the heat of the moment? Well, the solution is to learn how to step back and become the observer of your own mind.
Your most powerful tool is your ability to find the space. There is this tiny, precious little moment, this pause, between the external trigger, the thing that happens, and your internal response. And right there, in that little space, that's where all your freedom and all your power to choose lies.
So here's your game plan. Step 1, a trigger happens. You just acknowledge it, without judgment. There it is. Step 2, you take a deep breath. This is how you create that space. Step 3, you shift your perspective and become the observer. Imagine you're just watching the storm of your emotions the same way you'd watch the weather. And then step 4, you just watch that 90-second chemical storm pass. You don't have to get swept up in it. You can just observe it from the shore until it's over.
And when those 90 seconds are up, what's left? Information. Your anger becomes data. It might be telling you that a boundary has been crossed, or that one of your values has been violated. And now, you're not reacting to the drama, you become the boundary gatekeeper. You get to calmly decide what to do with that information.
Ultimately, that's the big takeaway from all of this. The initial 90-second flash, that's just a reaction. But anything after that is a choice. You can choose to keep making more toast, or you can choose to let the alarm turn off and let the smoke clear.
So I'll leave you with this. The next time you feel that flash of frustration start to rise up, remember, you have a choice. The chemical storm is on a timer, and it will pass in a minute and a half. The real question is, what will you choose to do with your next 90 seconds? The choice is all yours.